Football is a violent sport, which is what makes evaluating players still in high school so difficult. With how prevalent injuries are at all levels, it's tough to predict who will actually make it to the NFL. That's what makes things like the USA Today All-USA High School Football Team so intriguing. These young men were among the best of the best, but many of them never found NFL greatness. Today, we're taking a look back at the 2007 USA Today All-USA team and seeing what happened. Before diving into the main roster, here are a few highlights from the second team. Matt Barkley, quarterback. During high school, Barkley became the first quarterback allowed to call his own plays at Modern Day under Bruce Rollison. He became the first junior to win both the Gatorade National Player of the Year and Gatorade National Male Athlete of the Year before making this list. Unfortunately, he struggled a bit to start his senior season and didn't make the All-USA roster in 2008. Still, he broke Todd Marinovich's record for passing yards at Modern Day, which the former Phenom set all the way back in 1987. Barkley signed to play with USC, which had just lost Mark Sanchez to the draft. He competed with Mitch Mustain and Aaron Corp for the starting position as a true freshman, eventually winning the job to become the first true freshman to start a season opener for the Trojans since Rick Leach in 1975. It was an up and down season for Barkley as he dealt with an injury and threw 15 TDs to 14 interceptions. His sophomore season was much better, but Barkley's big leap came in 2011. That year, he threw for 3,528 yards and 39 TDs to just 7 interceptions as USC raced to a 10-2 record. Despite starting the 2012 season as the Heisman favorite and USC as the preseason number 1 team, Barkley and the Trojans struggled throughout the season, ending the year at 7-6. Barkley also picked up a shoulder injury, which saw him drop from being potentially the first QB off the board to a 4th-round pick by the Eagles. Technically, he spent 10 years in the NFL, but he only saw action in 20 games, mostly playing as a backup or practice squad player. Barkley's most significant stretch came in 2016, when he started 6 games for the Bears, after both Jay Cutler and Brian Hoyer went down with injury. He went 1-5 and threw for 1,611 yards, 8 TDs, and 14 INTs. He retired after spending the 2023 season with the Jags and seems to be spending most of his days doing some broadcasting work, but mostly trading Bitcoin. Sam McGuffie, running back. McGuffie started his college career at Michigan. As a true freshman, he ran for 486 yards and 3 scores, but also suffered 3 concussions. He decided to transfer to Rice after the season. After sitting out a year, McGuffie ran for 883 yards and 6 TDs as a sophomore, but missed most of his junior season with an injury. As a senior, he switched to wide receiver and caught 54 passes for 603 yards and 5 touchdowns. During his time in college, McGuffie also ran track, competing in the 60 meters, 60-meter hurdles, 100 meters, high jump, and long jump. He was not selected in the 2013 draft, but spent a few years on NFL practice squads. By 2015, he decided to make a career change and join the USA Bobsled national team. He participated in the 2018 Winter Olympics as a push crewman in the 4-man team that finished in 9th. Since then, he's been working in sales. Matt Kalil, offensive line. Kalil went to USC for college. With the Trojans, he established himself as one of the best tackles in the country, making the first team All-American list and winning the Morris Trophy in 2011. The Vikings picked him 4th overall in the 2012 draft. During that first season, he made the All-Rookie team and was named to the Pro Bowl as an injury replacement. After 5 years in Minnesota, he signed with the Panthers, where he played alongside his brother Ryan on the offensive line. Unfortunately, a knee injury essentially ended his career after 1 season in Carolina. He retired in 2019 and owns a tequila company with his brother. Also, I won't talk about it here so that this video doesn't get demonetized, but if you're looking for an interesting story, consider looking up why Kalil and his wife Haley Bailey got a divorce in 2022. Kyle Long, offensive line. Long's dad Howie is a Pro Football Hall of Famer. His older brother Chris is a two-time Super Bowl champion defensive end. Kyle played on the other side of the ball, signing with Florida State to start college. He left for academic reasons after picking up a DWI and spent a year at Saddleback College before joining Oregon for the 2012 season. He started 6 games, but was denied an appeal to get an extra year of eligibility, so Long hopped into the 2013 draft. The Bears picked him 20th overall. He started his career with 3 straight Pro Bowls, establishing himself as one of the top linemen in the league after making the Pro Bowl team as a guard and tackle. Unfortunately, he started to be plagued by injuries in 2016 and was seemingly out of the NFL after the 2019 season. He officially retired in 2020, but briefly came back in 2021 before hurting his knee and retiring for good. He's done some broadcasting work since retiring and is a part owner of an esports racing team in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. Daquan Bowers, defensive line. Bowers was ranked as the number 1 prospect in this class by ESPN before signing with Clemson. Rivals called him the best defensive prospect it had seen between 2005 and 2009, and favorably compared him to Reggie White and Bruce Smith. Things largely went to plan with the Tigers outside of a few injuries. In 2010, Bowers was the ACC Defensive Player of the Year, a unanimous All-American, the Ted Hendricks Award winner, and the Bronco Nagurski Trophy winner, while racking up 67 tackles, 26 tackles for loss, and 15.5 sacks. Some thought he might be the number 1 pick in the 2011 draft, but medical issues, including an off-season knee surgery, caused him to drop. The Bucs picked him in the 2nd round, and Bowers had a mostly disappointing career. He put up 7 sacks across 5 seasons and dealt with several off-field issues, including a 2-game suspension for using PEDs. Bowers spent the 2017 season in the Canadian League and retired in 2018. Soon after, he joined the Clemson staff as an assistant, helping the team win the 2018 National Championship. In 2020, he joined South Florida as the defensive line coach and rejoined Clemson as a full-time member of the staff in 2023. He's still with the program as of 2025. And now for the first team offense. Terrelle Pryor, quarterback. After a star-studded high school career, the uber-athletic Pryor signed with Ohio State. As a freshman, he was in and out of the lineup as a passer, tossing for 1,311 yards and 12 TDs as a part-time starter alongside Todd Beckman. He was also used as a runner, racking up 631 yards and 6 scores on the ground. In the Fiesta Bowl against Texas, Pryor lined up at wide receiver and caught his first collegiate TD pass. Before his sophomore season, Pryor ran a 4.3340 in a race against his teammates, proving himself the fastest Buckeye on the team. His season started slowly, but Pryor kept developing as a passer, throwing for 2,094 yards and 18 scores, while adding 779 yards and 7 TDs on the ground. In 2010, Pryor led the Big Ten in passing touchdowns with 27, adding 4 scores on the ground and 1 as a pass catcher, as the Buckeyes went 12-1 and scored a victory over Arkansas in the Sugar Bowl. Around that same time, it was discovered that he and 4 teammates had been selling memorabilia. Pryor was suspended for the first 5 games of the 2011 season. Instead of dealing with that suspension, he decided to jump into the 2011 supplemental draft. At 6'4" and 240 pounds, Pryor impressed with a 4.38 in the 40, and Al Davis made him the final selection of his, quote, speed era, picking him in the 3rd round of the supplemental draft. Pryor spent 3 years with the Raiders, largely as a backup who mostly played in rushing situations. In 2013, he got his first real shot at playing QB in the NFL, going 3-6 as a starter with 1,798 yards and 7 TDs to 11 interceptions. He did set the quarterback record for the longest run with a 93-yard scamper, but it would probably be a stretch to call him effective as a quarterback. After the season, Pryor was traded to Seattle and spent about a year jumping around the league. In 2015, Pryor was claimed off the waivers by the Browns. He never played quarterback, but did become a starting wide receiver in Cleveland in 2016. That year, he caught 77 passes for 1,007 yards and 4 scores while showing off game-breaking speed. He signed with Washington in 2017, but injuries limited him to just 2 starts. Pryor came back and signed with the Jets in 2018. He was decent, but again dealt with injuries and was cut after 6 games. He bounced around the league for another season before retiring in 2019. That year, he was in the news after being stabbed in an altercation, but survived. He was also arrested in 2021 after allegedly throwing pumpkins at his ex-girlfriend's car and was ordered to pay $300 after pleading guilty. Since then, he seems to be enjoying his retirement, mostly out of the public eye, and most fans are left wondering what could have been had he started his NFL career as a wide receiver. Darrell Scott, running back. Scott was born in Florida, but played high school ball in California. After a dominant high school career that saw him rack up over 5,000 yards and 79 touchdowns in his final 2 years, Scott signed with Colorado. As a freshman, he ran for 343 yards and 1 score. To start the 2009 season, Scott got 1 carry against Colorado State and eventually announced that he was going to transfer. Colorado fans might have been annoyed had Rodney Stewart not come out of basically nowhere to become a stud. Originally, Scott was going to head to UCLA, where his uncle had gotten a coaching job, but he ultimately ended up transferring to South Florida because the Bruins already had a very crowded backfield. After sitting out a year, Scott ran for 814 yards and 5 TDs over 11 games in 2011. He battled injuries throughout the year, but finished the season as a second-team All-Big East player. Scott decided to head to the 2012 draft. He was not selected, but signed with the Cowboys. He spent the season with the team and was then cut without ever playing a down. Unfortunately, he's gone completely off the map since then, at least as far as I could tell. Bryce Brown, running back. Brown is the only junior to make the first team, and spoiler alert, he will also appear in the 2008 version of this video. With that in mind, I'll keep this relatively brief, but there is a lot here. Brown started his college career at Tennessee, but not without some controversy, as he'd originally committed to play with his brother Arthur, a 5-star linebacker himself and a guy we'll talk about in a few minutes, at Miami. On top of that, his advisor, Brian Butler, was selling recruiting updates for Brown for $9.99 a month or $59 a year, and at one point claimed that Brown would go to the Canadian League instead of playing college ball. After reneging on his commitment to Miami, Brown made a last-minute trip to Tennessee and eventually signed with the Vols. As a freshman, he ran for 460 yards and 3 scores, backing up Montario Hardesty. Then, Lane Kiffin announced that he was leaving the program to join USC. Brown soon announced that he was also leaving. Importantly, his brother Arthur had, in the meantime, left Miami to sign with Kansas State, and Bryce decided to join him in the Little Apple. He missed the 2010 season due to transfer rules, and suited up for just 2 games in 2011, rushing 3 times for 16 yards. Brown then left the team and entered the 2012 NFL Draft as an early entrant. He was not asked to participate in the Combine, and the Eagles eventually picked him in the 7th round of the draft. When LaShawn McCoy went down with a concussion, Brown was announced as the starter for a Monday Night Football game against the Panthers. In his first start since high school, Brown ran for over 100 yards and a touchdown in the first half alone. That included a 65-yard TD rumble. He finished the game with 178 yards and 2 scores. The next week, he ran for 169 yards and 2 more touchdowns. He did have a fumbling issue, but it was clear that Brown had game-breaking potential. McCoy was back in the lineup in 2013, but Brown impressed in a 54-11 blowout against the Bears, rushing for 115 yards and a score on just 9 carries. Ahead of the 2014 season, he was traded to the Bills. Unfortunately for Brown, he could not recapture the magic and was released after 7 games. He signed with Seattle midway through the 2015 season, but only played in 3 games, putting up 72 yards and a score on 25 carries. He was out of the NFL after the season and soon got into coaching. Most recently, he was coaching running backs at Tennessee Tech, but appears to have left that position as of the 2025 season. As for his brother Arthur, like I said, we'll talk about him in a bit. The brother's uncle Lawrence Pete also played in the NFL, spending 4 years as a nose tackle with the Lions in the late 80s and early 90s. Mike Brewster, offensive line. Brewster left Florida, where he played high school ball alongside Ha Clinton Dix, to play center at Ohio State. As a freshman, he took over as a starter following an injury to Jim Cordell and proceeded to start the next 49 games, which is the second longest such streak in Buckeye history. He was named a first-team All-American in 2010 and won the Jim Parker Award in 2011. The slight downtick in production during his senior season meant that Brewster went unselected in the 2012 draft. He signed with the Jags and played a bit before injuries knocked him out. Brewster jumped between a few practice squads before starting his coaching career in 2017 at the high school level. As of 2025, Brewster is working as the assistant offensive line coach at the University of Washington. Trevor Robinson, offensive line. Robinson signed with Notre Dame for college. The big center was a consistent starter for the team throughout most of his career, but was not selected in the 2012 draft. He signed with the Bengals and played in 13 games, getting 7 starts. He was a backup for Cincy in 2013, and then signed with the Chargers in 2014. 2015 was Robinson's best season. He played in all 16 games with 13 starts, but was waived after the season and was completely out of the NFL after the next year. As of 2025, he's working in operations for an outdoor living company. Josh Jenkins, offensive line. Jenkins stayed in-state to play at West Virginia. During his last few years, he was a starter when healthy, but that was a consistent problem for the often injured Jenkins. He missed the entire 2011 season and was knocked out of several games in 2008 and 2010. Jenkins wasn't drafted, but spent time with the Eagles and Lions in minicamps, never making a final roster. He joined the Canadian League in 2014, but had another knee injury and decided to call it quits. Most recently, he was working for an oil and gas company in Oklahoma, but he has also coached briefly at the college level. Mike Adams, offensive line. Adams was born in Pennsylvania, but played high school ball in Ohio. He decided to join Pryor and Brewster at Ohio State. The big offensive tackle grew into a first-team All-Big Ten player by 2010, but dropped to the second team in 2011. At the 2012 Combine, Adams tested positive for drug use and was removed from the Steelers draft board. He then had a meeting with head coach Mike Tomlin, GM Kevin Colbert, and owner Art Rooney to tell them about his boyhood love for the team. The Steelers ended up picking him in the second round of the 2012 draft. He was with Pittsburgh for 3 years, starting 20 games and playing in 21 more, but dealt with ineffective play and a back injury that required surgery in 2015. He was released in 2016 after failing a physical, but signed with the Bears soon after. He played in 12 more games before another back injury ended his career. As of 2025, he's working as a yoga instructor and business owner. Matt Patchan, offensive line. Patchan's dad played college ball at Miami and was a third-round draft choice by the Eagles in 1988. The younger Patchan started his college career at Florida as a defensive lineman. He played in 11 games as a true freshman before making the switch to the offensive line as a sophomore. 4 games into that season, he picked up a season-ending injury, which also kept him out of the entire 2010 season. He played in all 12 games in 2011, but missed the 2012 season with another injury. Patchan transferred to Boston College for the 2013 season, becoming a second-team All-ACC left tackle. He was not selected in the 2014 draft, but signed with the Bucs, making the practice roster. After the 2015 training camp, his NFL career was over. He's been out of the public eye since then, but he isn't the only Patchan's son to play football. His brother Scott played college ball at Miami and Colorado State before doing a few practice squad stints in the NFL. Michael Floyd, wide receiver. Floyd made the All-USA second team list in 2006 as a junior and had another standout year as a senior to get on this list. In addition to his play on the gridiron, Floyd put up 23.5 points a night for the basketball team and competed in the 200 meters and long jump. Oh, and to afford his private school, Floyd helped the custodial staff clean the school before classes started each day. Simply put, he was a busy guy. Floyd signed with Notre Dame for college. As a true freshman, he caught 48 passes for 719 yards and 7 TDs, missing the final 2 games of the year with an injury. The next season, he was again solid, but fractured his clavicle midway through the season, which held him out of 5 games. He was fully healthy in 2010 and caught 79 passes for 1,025 yards and 12 TDs, but saved his best for last. During his senior season, Floyd posted 100 receptions for 1,147 yards and 9 scores, breaking Golden Tate's school record for catches in a season and setting career records for basically every receiving category for the Fighting Irish. The Cardinals picked Floyd 13th overall in the 2012 draft. During his 5 years with the team, Floyd was solid but not spectacular. He caught 242 passes for 3,739 yards and 23 TDs while playing across from Larry Fitzgerald, another Twin Cities kid. In 2016, Floyd was arrested for a DUI and was released by Arizona. The Patriots grabbed him off the wires, and he helped them win a Super Bowl. He wasn't active during the game, but he still got a ring. He signed with the Vikings in 2017. Floyd was suspended for the first 4 games of the year after violating the league's substance abuse policy and had a pretty rough season overall, totaling just 10 catches for 78 yards in 11 games. Floyd signed with the Saints for training camp in 2018, but was cut and signed with Washington. He appeared in 13 games, catching 10 passes for 100 yards and 1 score. Floyd signed with Baltimore in 2019, but was again cut before the season, effectively ending his NFL career. As of 2025, he's working in real estate back in Minnesota. Julio Jones, wide receiver. In addition to starring on the gridiron, Jones was a 4-time state champion in the long jump and triple jump in high school. He decided to sign with Alabama to play under Nick Saban. As a freshman, he caught 58 passes for 924 yards and 4 scores to win the SEC Freshman of the Year. He had a slow start to his sophomore campaign, but eventually turned it around as Bama won a championship. As a junior, Jones caught 78 passes for 1,133 yards and 7 scores to make the first-team All-SEC and second-team All-American rosters. He decided to skip his senior season, and the Falcons picked him 6th overall in the 2011 draft. Jones played for a decade in Atlanta, partnering with quarterback Matt Ryan to form one of the most dynamic duos in the NFL. Across those 10 seasons, Jones caught 848 passes for 12,896 yards and 60 TDs to make 7 Pro Bowls and 2 first-team All-Pro squads. He also helped lead the Falcons to the 2016 Super Bowl, and Atlanta fans feel free to look away, but the team famously fell apart, throwing away a 28-3 lead midway through the third quarter and losing to the Patriots. Ahead of the 2021 season, Jones publicly said he wanted to leave Atlanta, so he was traded to the Titans. Jones played in 10 games that year, catching 31 passes for 434 yards and 1 score. He was released after the season and spent 2022 playing with the Bucs. He then joined the Eagles in 2023, but was concussed in the playoffs midway through a wild card round matchup against Tampa Bay. He spent a year out of football before officially retiring in 2025. It'll be a few more years before he's eligible, but he will more than likely make the Hall of Fame around the end of this decade. Kyle Rudolph, tight end. Rudolph signed with Notre Dame for college ball. During his first season, he became the first tight end in Irish history to start all 13 games as a true freshman. He caught 29 passes for 340 yards and 2 scores. He missed a few games as a sophomore with a shoulder injury, but was still solid. A similar thing happened in 2010, but this time it was a hamstring injury that limited him to just 6 games. He decided to skip his final season, and the Vikings picked him in the second round of the 2011 draft. Rudolph spent 10 years in Minnesota, becoming one of the better pass-catching tight ends in the NFL. During his time with the Vikings, he caught 453 passes for 4,488 yards and 48 TDs, while making the Pro Bowl in 2012 and 2017. Rudolph was also a pretty solid blocker, helping pave the way for Adrian Peterson and the rest of the Vikings backfield. Rudolph was released in 2021 and signed with the Giants. During his lone season in New York, he caught 26 passes for 257 yards and 1 touchdown. He then spent the 2022 season playing sparingly for the Bucs, where he notably caught his 50th career touchdown, which just so happened to be Tom Brady's final regular season TD pass. He retired in 2023 and started working as a broadcaster for NBC Sports, where he's still working as of 2025. Blair Walsh, kicker. Walsh left Florida to kick at the University of Georgia. Over his 4 years, he missed just 1 extra point and successfully booted 76 of his 103 field goals. That earned him the Athens Assassin nickname and a spot on the first-team All-SEC roster in 2010. The Vikings picked him in the 6th round of the 2012 draft. He had an excellent rookie season, passing Randy Moss as the franchise's all-time leader in points scored by a rookie. He also tied the Vikings record for longest field goal with a 56-yarder. That record has since been broken by Greg Joseph, but Walsh was named to the Pro Bowl and first-team All-Pro rosters as a rookie. He continued to be solid for the Vikings over the next few years, and then the Vikings made the 2015 playoffs. Playing in the freezing cold, Walsh started the game going 3 for 3, but he hooked the 27-yard game-winner wide left, dooming Minnesota to a loss to Seattle. After that, Walsh seemed to be broken mentally. He struggled through the 2016 season and was released after 10 games. In a funny twist, he signed with the Seahawks, who played the Vikings in the next preseason. He successfully kicked 2 field goals and then started to taunt Vikings coach Mike Zimmer and the rest of the sideline, though to be fair, they were dishing it just as much as he was. Walsh didn't have a great season in Seattle and never kicked again, despite doing a few training camp and practice squad stints with the Falcons and Saints. In 2021, he moved into the real estate business in California, where he's still working as of 2025. And now for the defense. Patrick Peterson, defensive back. Peterson initially committed to Miami, but ended up switching to LSU at the U.S. All-American Bowl. He played in 13 games as a freshman and got his first career interception against Alabama. As a sophomore, Peterson emerged as one of the best DBs in the SEC, though all anyone remembers from that season is the Alabama game. He was matched up with Julio Jones and appeared to get a game-changing interception late in the 4th, but then SEC officials ruled the pass incomplete and Bama went on to win after kicking a field goal. Still, he was named a second-team All-American and was poised for a massive junior season. Unfortunately, he delivered. Peterson was a lockdown defender, picking off 4 passes and consistently making game-changing plays. On top of that, the Tigers unleashed him in the return game. Peterson led the SEC in yards per return in kickoffs and punts, racking up 1,484 all-purpose yards and taking 2 punts back to the house. At season's end, Peterson was a unanimous All-American and also brought in a ton of hardware, winning the SEC Special Teams Player of the Year, the Ben Narek Award as the best defensive player in the country, and the Jim Thorpe and Jack Tatum Awards as the best defensive back in the country. He skipped his senior season, and the Cardinals picked him 5th overall in the 2011 draft. Peterson was a solid cornerback as a rookie, but made his big mark as a returner, taking 4 punts back for scores to make the Pro Bowl and first-team All-Pro rosters. During the follow-up campaign, he showed off his abilities as a ball hawk, grabbing 7 picks and 5 fumble recoveries to make another Pro Bowl team. Peterson played for 8 more years in Arizona, making the Pro Bowl team 8 times and earning 3 first-team All-Pro nods. In short, he was one of the best DBs in the league. The only thing that slowed him down was a 6-game suspension in 2019 after failing a PED test. He came back to play solid football in 2020, but left the team in 2021 to sign with the Vikings. Peterson spent 2 seasons in Minnesota, notably picking off Josh Allen twice in a 2022 overtime thriller, but also missed the first game of his career due to injury in 2021. He joined the Steelers in 2023 and was solid, even getting his first start at safety when Pittsburgh was hit by injuries and suspensions. He did not play in 2024 and officially retired as a Cardinal in 2025. Over his 13-year career, Peterson racked up 36 interceptions to go with those 4 punt return TDs that he put up as a rookie. As of 2025, he seems to be playing a lot of golf and raising his 2 daughters down in Arizona. He also comes from a family of athletes. Cousins Bryant McFadden, Walter McFadden, Cineris Moss, Santana Moss, and Zach Moss all played in the NFL. DeAngelo Tyson, defensive line. Tyson had a rough upbringing. When he was 10, his mother beat him badly enough that the neighbors called for help, and he was sent to live in a boys' group home. During middle school, he formed a close relationship with his teacher and her husband, who coached the football team. He continued to live in the group home through high school, but when holidays came around, he was at the Lamb's house and still calls them his family. After starring at the high school level, he signed with Georgia. Over his 4-year career, he racked up 8.5 tackles for loss and 3 sacks. The Ravens picked him in the 7th round of the 2012 draft. During his rookie season, Tyson was in the defensive line rotation as Baltimore won a Super Bowl. He spent 2 more seasons with the Ravens, mostly as a rotation piece. In 2016, he was signed by the Seahawks, but was waived before the season, ending his NFL career. Since then, he's been running football camps and working on music. His son Braden is a 4-star running back in the 2027 class. Marcus Forston, defensive line. After dominating high school ball and drawing comparisons to Warren Sapp, Forston signed to play with Miami. Big Boom was an instant contributor along the defensive line, grabbing 4.5 tackles for loss and 3 sacks as a true freshman. Unfortunately, he missed his entire sophomore season with an injury, but came back strong in 2010, totaling 12 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 1 pick. His 2021 season started pretty well, but another injury knocked him out for the season after just 3 games. Forston was not selected in the 2012 draft, but did sign with the Patriots. He was waived several times, but kept re-signing with New England, playing in 4 games over 2 years. Forston spent the 2014 season out of football and worked in security. He signed with the Rams in 2015, but did not make the final roster. Since then, he's been working as a police officer down in Georgia. Nick Perry, defensive line. Perry made this list as a defensive lineman, but the 6'4" star was running a 4.51 in the 40, so he was always going to be an edge at the next level. Perry signed with USC and took a redshirt year in 2008. The next year, he was mostly used in passing situations, racking up 9 tackles for loss and 8 sacks to make the all-freshman team. He had another solid season in 2010, but broke out in 2011, putting up 13 tackles for loss and 9.5 sacks to make the All-Pac-12 team. He skipped his senior season, and the Packers picked Perry 28th overall in the 2012 draft. He earned a starting role as a rookie, but was knocked out with injury, playing in just 6 games that year. He spent the next few seasons rotating into the Packers linebacking unit while dealing with injuries. In 2015, he tied a franchise record with 3.5 sacks in the postseason. In 2016, he earned a starting role again and racked up 11 sacks and 12 tackles for loss. He also started in 2017 and 2018, but missed significant chunks of both seasons with injuries. Perry was released in 2019 and was out of the NFL. Since then, he's mostly been enjoying retirement, but does pop up every now and then back in Green Bay. Arthur Brown, linebacker. I've already talked a bit about Brown because his brother Bryce also made this list as a junior running back. I believe that makes them the first brothers to make the All-USA team in the same year. Like Bryce, Arthur was a 5-star prospect. OU coach Bob Stoops predicted that he would win the Dick Butkus Award at least 2 times, and USC coach Pete Carroll said he was the best linebacker prospect he'd seen in 7 years. Brown decided to start his college career at Miami. He struggled during his 2 years on campus and decided to leave the program in 2010. The Brown brothers both eventually joined Kansas State, where Arthur became a star. Over 2 seasons, he racked up 201 tackles, 16.5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, and 3 interceptions. He was named the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year in 2012. Not quite the butt kiss, but not bad either. The Ravens picked him in the second round of the 2013 draft, hoping to use his sideline-to-sideline speed to wreak havoc on offenses. He spent 3 years in Baltimore, never starting, and putting up just 20 tackles and half a sack. Brown then spent a few years bouncing around practice squads before retiring in 2019. In 2022, he was inducted into the K-State Ring of Honor, but has otherwise been leading a normal life. Nigel Bradham, linebacker. Bradham signed with Florida State for college ball. He was in the Knowles rotation as a true freshman, playing in all 13 games and finishing the season as the team's 4th leading tackler. The next year, he became a starter, putting up 93 tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks. In 2010, he was part of FSU's nation-leading sack unit, grabbing 5 of his own along with 98 tackles. During his senior season, he was named a team captain and earned an ACC honorable mention with 86 tackles, 9.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and 2 picks. The Bills picked him in the 4th round of the 2012 draft. Bradham spent 4 years in Buffalo, starting 38 of 57 games and posting 271 tackles, 13 TFLs, and 3.5 sacks. During that stretch, he also moved around the linebacking unit, showing off his versatility. In 2016, he signed with the Eagles. He started every game he was healthy for over the next 4 seasons, helping the Eagles win a Super Bowl in 2017 and putting up 348 tackles, 21 tackles for loss, and 5 sacks. In 2020, Philly decided to release him after declining the team option on his deal. He signed with the Saints for the preseason, but was cut before the final roster. Then, Bradham joined the Broncos practice squad and was active for 1 game that season. He was out of football after that, and outside of a few legal issues, has mostly been working as a real estate investor and enjoying his retirement out of the public eye. Brendan Beal, linebacker. Beal joined Florida to start college. As a freshman, he tore his ACL in the preseason and missed the whole season. He suffered a neck injury during the 2009 preseason, missing another year. He then decided to transfer to Minnesota, so he missed the 2010 season due to transfer rules. Beal missed yet another season in 2011 with a knee injury. He finally made his debut in 2012, totaling 16 tackles over 11 games before another injury ended his career. After earning his master's in financial mathematics, Beal started a career in commodity trading. As of 2025, he's working for an oil and gas company in Texas. Shayne Hale, linebacker. Hale joined Pitt for college. After a redshirt season, he played in 7 games in 2009, totaling 9 tackles. Over the next 2 seasons, he played in only 3 games, but started 6 in 2012, finishing the season with 36 tackles, 9.5 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks. He wasn't drafted and eventually went back to school at Chatham University to earn his master's in education. As of 2025, he's working as an assistant principal at a Pittsburgh charter school. TJ Bryant, defensive back. Bryant signed with USC to start his college career. As a freshman, he appeared in 7 games, grabbing 1 interception. He continued to be a backup in 2009, but appeared in all 13 games as an important player in the Trojans' rotation. Ahead of the 2010 season, he was in an on-field altercation with a teammate, leaving him with a broken cheekbone. That injury sidelined him for the opener, and a shoulder injury kept him out of the final 3 games of the season. Because of that injury, he had to sit out the 2011 season with a red shirt and then transferred to Troy. During his lone season there, he played in 10 games with 22 tackles and 1 TFL. He's mostly been out of the public eye since then, but he does have a credit on IMDb that says he worked in the transportation department for a movie called Bram's the Boy in 2020. So, if nothing else, he's gotten a bit of work in the horror movie business. Nolan Brewster, defensive back. Brewster left Colorado to play at Texas. He mostly played on special teams as a freshman, but did flit in and out of the safety rotation. In 2010, he appeared in every game, playing again on special teams and at safety. That year, he recorded his only career interception against Louisiana Monroe. He took a red shirt in 2010, but when he came back in 2011, he was concussed in an early season game against UCLA. That led to post-traumatic migraines, and Brewster decided to end his football career. After getting his degree, he started working in biz dev and is working as an enterprise accountant manager back in his hometown as of 2025. Will Hill, athlete. Hill did just about everything in high school. As a senior, he passed for 947 yards and 7 scores, adding 960 yards and 19 TDs as a rusher. On defense, he racked up 43 tackles, 4 INTs, and 3 pass breakups. The speedster signed with Florida for college and put up 48 tackles and 2 INTs to help the Gators win the 2008 title. He continued to play well over the next 2 years and decided to skip his senior season. However, Hill went undrafted in 2011. He signed with the Giants and played in 12 games, putting up 38 tackles and 2 tackles for loss. In 2013, Hill started 10 games at free safety, totaling 77 tackles and 2 picks, but was waived after the season. Hill signed with the Ravens, where he played strong safety for 2 seasons. He then signed with the Hamilton Tiger Cats in 2017. He played in 5 games and had several on-field altercations, which led to him being released for, quote, character concerns. Hill spent a year in the AAF and then joined the XFL in 2020. He was named a mid-season All-XFL player before the league was shut down for COVID. In 2022, he was again in the XFL, helping the Arlington Renegades win the league's championship in 2023. As of 2025, he seems to be focused on raising his young family. His son is currently the top-ranked receiver in New Jersey, but he's also in the class of 2030, so it'll be a while before we know for sure if the youngster can play on Saturdays. Ben Buchanan, punter. Buchanan punted at Ohio State. He got limited action in 2009 after taking a red shirt, but then he took over in 2010. In 2011, he led the Big Ten in total punting yards, averaging 41.3 yards per punt. He had another solid senior season, but doesn't appear to have tried to play professionally. Instead, he's done some local broadcasting work and gotten his real estate license. He's still working in both fields as of 2023. He also earned his doctorate from Ohio State in 2018 and has done some lecturing work at his alma mater. And that wraps up the 2007 list of USA Today All-USA players. I'll be back in a few weeks with the 2008 crew, but for now, why don't you check out this video of the 2006 squad.